He hadn't come home in 3 days. Not a call. Not a message. Just silence. Nia Caldwell stood in the kitchen of her brand-new mansion, wearing her wedding ring like a chain. The morning light spilled across the marble counters, mocking her. It was supposed to be a dream life, married to Ethan Stone, the billionaire everyone worshipped. But right now, it felt like punishment. 3 days. 3 days after the wedding, and her husband had already vanished. The tabloids called them Love's New Empire. They showed pictures of his hand around her waist, her smile polished and bright. But they never saw what happened when the cameras turned away, how his eyes turned cold, how he flinched when she reached for him. She whispered to the empty room, "Did I marry a ghost?" Her phone lit up. A text from an unknown number. "He's not coming home." She froze. The message had no name, no emojis, just those 5 words that cut deeper than truth. She called Ethan, no answer. Called again, straight to voicemail. The ring felt heavier now. She yanked it off, set it on the counter. The diamond hit the marble with a sound that split the silence. Somewhere deep inside, something told her this wasn't just work. This wasn't just stress. Something darker was hiding behind his excuses. She walked to the living room window. Outside, the world glowed with perfection. Lawns trimmed, neighbors smiling. But in her chest, panic clawed for space. The kind you feel when you already know the answer but don't want to believe it. Her best friend, Malia, had warned her. Men like him don't love women like us. They collect us. Until we stop shining. Nia didn't want to believe that. She thought love was stronger than race, stronger than ego, stronger than money. But love doesn't vanish for 3 days without a word. Her reflection in the glass looked different now. Tired eyes, cracked lips, fear hiding under strength. The kind of look women wear right before their lives fall apart. A black SUV pulled up at the gate. Her heart jumped. Maybe he came back. Maybe this was all a misunderstanding. But it wasn't Ethan. It was his assistant. White suit, fake smile, eyes avoiding hers. He handed her an envelope. "Mr. Stone asked me to deliver this." Nia's hand trembled as she opened it. Inside, a single page. Printed words, cold and sharp. "I need space. Don't call me." Her throat closed. No signature. No explanation. Just distance. And then, almost automatically, the thought slid through her mind like glass. His with her. She didn't know who her was yet. But her body did. Her instincts did. Every woman who's ever been lied to knows that feeling. The silent confirmation that the story you've been living is about to break. If you've ever trusted someone so deeply, you ignored your own heartbeat, tell me in the comments. What would you do now? Because Nia's about to find out the answer. And what happens next will shock everyone. The letter fell from her hand. It floated to the floor like a leaf, soft, silent, final. Nia didn't cry. Not yet. Shock has a way of freezing tears before they fall. She just stood there, staring at the empty doorway where Ethan's assistant had disappeared. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. Unknown number. This one read, "He wasn't alone in Miami." Her stomach twisted. Miami? He told her he was in San Francisco for investor meetings. She typed back fast. "Who is this? What do you want?" No reply. Just that single blue tick mocking her. She walked to the couch and sat down, hands shaking. Her wedding dress flashed through her memory. Lace, pearls, laughter echoing under chandeliers. She remembered him whispering, "Forever starts today." But forever lasted less than a week. She opened Instagram. Ethan's account was still there, perfectly curated. Beach photos. Business events. Smiles that didn't belong to a man who'd just walked away from his wife. And then she saw it. A story tag. Someone had posted a photo of Ethan in Miami. He wasn't alone. A woman leaned against him, wearing a silver dress, her hand on his chest. The caption read, "Power couple goals." Nia zoomed in. The woman's face was half-turned, but she recognized the blonde hair, the red nails. Clara Vale. Ethan's so-called business partner. Her chest burned. Not just from betrayal, but from the memory of every warning she'd ignored. How Clara had laughed too hard at Ethan's jokes. How Ethan's eyes followed her in meetings. How he always said, "She's just part of the team, don't overthink it." Now the truth was right there in a pixelated smile. She threw her phone onto the couch and stood. The house felt too big, too bright, too clean for heartbreak. Every corner screamed money, but none of it felt like hers. She walked through the hallway lined with their wedding photos. His white tuxedo, her glowing brown skin beside him. Strangers playing pretend. The woman in those pictures didn't look like her anymore. That woman still believed she was safe. Nia whispered, "I should have listened to myself." And for the first time since the wedding, she let herself break. Her knees hit the floor. The sobs came in waves. Loud, ugly, raw. All the silence she'd held back spilled out in a single breath of pain. When the crying stopped, something shifted inside her. Not strength. Not yet. But resolve, the small, steady kind that begins with anger. She looked at the ring on the counter again. The diamond glittered in the sunlight, pretending to be pure. She picked it up, stared at it, then clenched it tight until it cut her palm. "This isn't over," she whispered. Not because she wanted him back. Because she wanted the truth. And if you've ever been lied to so smoothly you almost believed it, drop a yes in the comments. Because Nia's about to uncover what really happened in Miami. And the truth? It's uglier than anyone thinks. By the time Ethan finally came home, it was midnight. Nia sat on the couch, the lights low, the letter still open on the coffee table. She'd spent hours rehearsing what she'd say, how she'd confront him, how she'd hold her ground. But when she heard the garage door open, all that practice turned to trembling silence. He walked in like nothing was wrong. Suit crisp, cufflinks shining. His cologne filled the room, expensive and familiar. Now it made her stomach twist. "You're awake," he said, voice flat, as if she were an inconvenience. 3 days, Ethan," she whispered. "You disappeared for 3 days." He poured himself a drink. "I told you I needed space." "Space?" Her voice cracked. "You sent that through your assistant. Not even a call. Do you know what that feels like?" He turned, glass in hand. "It feels like you don't trust me." The words hit her harder than the silence ever could. He was calm. Too calm. Like a man performing in a play he'd already mastered. "Trust," she repeated. "You lied about Miami." His jaw tightened. "Who told you that?" "Does it matter?" she said. "You said you were in San Francisco." "I was," he lied smoothly. "Meetings moved. You wouldn't understand how fast business changes." She stepped closer. "I understand when someone's lying to me." Ethan laughed softly, shaking his head. "You're being emotional again. Always jumping to conclusions." That word. Emotional. It burned like acid. Because when a white man says it to a black woman, it's not just a word, it's a weapon. It means hysterical, irrational, less than. "Don't do that," she said quietly. "Don't make this my fault." He sighed, walked past her, set his glass down. "You should really calm down before the staff hears you. It's not a good look." Nia's eyes stung. A good look for who? For the billionaire who abandons his wife. He turned back, and for a second, she saw it. The flicker of guilt beneath his arrogance. But then it was gone, buried under that same cold mask. "You knew what marrying me meant," he said. "Pressure. Attention. You wanted this life." "No," she whispered. "I wanted you. But I don't even know who you are anymore." Ethan picked up his coat. "We'll talk tomorrow. Don't make this bigger than it is." And then he walked out again. Just like that. The front door clicked shut, and the silence returned, louder this time. Nia sank onto the couch, staring at the empty space he left behind. It wasn't just about cheating anymore. It was about control. The slow, quiet kind that makes you question your own reality. She could feel it now. The line had been crossed. If you've ever been made to feel crazy for noticing the truth, you know this moment. And if you think Ethan's gaslighting can't get worse, wait until you see what he does next. Because that's when he makes his biggest mistake yet. Morning came, but it didn't feel like morning. The house was still dark, still heavy with everything unsaid. Nia hadn't slept. She'd sat by the window all night, staring at the driveway, waiting for Ethan to come back. He never did. At 7:14 a.m., her phone buzzed. A message from Malia. "Girl, turn on Channel 9. Her heart dropped. She grabbed the remote, flipped to the news, and froze. The screen showed Ethan, smiling, standing at a hotel launch event in Miami, next to Clara. The anchor's voice echoed. Tech billionaire Ethan Stone appears alongside business partner Clara Vale at the Stone Future Charity Gala. Nia's throat went dry. He'd looked her in the eyes last night and said he was in San Francisco. But here he was, live, in Miami, holding Clara's hand. Her pulse hammered. She pressed her palm to her mouth, shaking. The camera cut closer. Ethan leaned toward Clara, whispered something. She laughed. Too close. Too intimate. The caption read, "Rumors of romance between the tech duo spark curiosity online." Her phone lit up with notifications. Texts. Mentions. People tagging her. "Isn't that your husband?" Damn. She really thought money means loyalty. Poor girl. Happens every time. The internet didn't wait for her side. They never do. She opened Twitter. Her name was trending. Not for love. For pity. For entertainment. A gossip account posted, "Ethan's exotic wife hasn't been seen in days. Sources say she's struggling to adjust to billionaire life." Exotic. That word again. Like she was a collector's item. A curiosity, not a person. She turned off the TV, heart pounding. Her hands trembled as she picked up her phone and typed Ethan's number. He didn't answer. She tried again. Voicemail. "Ethan," she said, voice breaking. "I saw you. I know." Her breath came out in gasps. She pressed the phone against her chest, like holding it tighter could bring him back. Then, another message appeared. This one from a new number. His not just cheating. His lying about more than that. Nia froze. She typed back, "Who are you?" No answer. She read the message again. The words buzzed in her mind like a warning. Not just cheating. She walked to the mirror, studying her face. Eyes swollen, hair undone, heart shattered. But something new flickered there too. Determination. He wanted her silent. Humiliated. But she wouldn't give him that power. She opened her laptop and started digging. Company photos. Travel logs. News reports. Every detail of Ethan and Clara's business partnership. She clicked through image after image, until one photo stopped her cold. Ethan and Clara at a private villa in Miami. The same weekend he told her he was too busy for date night. She whispered, "You liar." Her hands shook as she saved the image. Proof. The first piece. If you've ever found evidence you wish you could unsee, you know this feeling. That burning mix of truth and heartbreak. Comment yes if you've ever been lied to so well it almost sounded like love. Because what Nia's about to uncover next. It's not just betrayal. It's war. By the next morning, it wasn't just rumors. It was everywhere. News outlets, blogs, TikTok reels. Every feed flooded with photos of Ethan and Clara. The world had already decided the story. Billionaire leaves unstable wife for his glamorous new partner. Nia's name trended again. This time beside the hashtag #HashCrazyNia. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. People she hadn't spoken to in years were texting her fake sympathy. Some wanted gossip. Some wanted screenshots. None cared about her pain. She scrolled through the headlines, Stone's wife spirals after marriage collapse. Was Nia Caldwell too insecure for the billionaire life? The media didn't ask why he cheated. They asked why she wasn't enough. Nia wanted to scream, to fight back. But Ethan's PR team had already released a statement, without her consent. It read, "Mr. and Mrs. Stone are taking time apart due to personal differences. Mr. Stone requests privacy during this sensitive period." Privacy. The same man who humiliated her on live TV now wanted privacy. Her phone buzzed again. Malia. Girl. They're painting you as the villain. You need to speak up. But when Nia called Ethan's lawyer to demand a statement of her own, he shut her down. Mrs. Stone, you're still under the brand agreement. Anything public must go through our office. Brand agreement, she snapped. I'm his wife, not his marketing asset. Legally, he said coldly, you're both. The line went dead. She sat there in disbelief, the phone heavy in her hand. The walls of the mansion seemed to close in. Everything beautiful around her, paid for by the man who'd destroyed her name, now felt like evidence of her own silence. Later that afternoon, Ethan finally called. His tone was smooth, rehearsed. You're making things worse by reacting. Let my team handle it. Your team, she repeated. They are destroying me, Ethan. You're overreacting, he said. People will move on if you stay quiet. Stay quiet. Her voice broke. You lied. You cheated. And now I'm the one being called crazy. He sighed, annoyed. The media loves drama. Don't give them what they want. Maybe they already have it, she said softly. A pause. Then he hung up. That silence said everything. He wasn't sorry. He wasn't scared. He was protecting himself. And for the first time, Nia understood. He didn't just betray her. He erased her. That night, she opened her laptop and watched the video again. Ethan and Clara at the gala, smiling, touching hands. She looked at his face, searching for any trace of the man she'd married. Nothing. Just a stranger pretending to be perfect. Her eyes burned, but this time, she didn't cry. The heartbreak had turned into something sharper. Resolve. If you've ever been blamed for someone else's sin, comment truth. Because Nia's about to fight back, and when she does, it'll shake his perfect world apart. The mansion didn't feel like hers anymore. Every room smelled like him. Every photo on the wall whispered lies. 2 days after the scandal exploded, a letter arrived. Thick paper. Gold trim. Legal seal. Eviction notice. Ethan had moved all assets into his company's name. The house, the cars, even the accounts she thought were joint, gone. The prenup made sure of it. Her lawyer explained it gently. You signed before the wedding. Everything you owned is his now. She remembered that night. Signing papers in his office. Wine on the table. Him smiling. It's just business, babe. Standard procedure. She'd believed him. Love makes smart women naive. Now she stood in her living room surrounded by boxes that weren't hers. Her phone rang again. Malia. You okay? Nia tried to speak, but her throat burned. He took everything, Lee. Everything. Malia's voice dropped to a whisper. You still have your name. But even that wasn't true. Online, they'd shredded it. Every post filled with comments calling her bitter, gold digger, angry black woman. She deleted her accounts. Packed a single suitcase. As she turned to leave, her phone buzzed once more. A message from Ethan. Let's make this easy. Don't go to the press. Don't embarrass yourself. Her jaw clenched. The arrogance in his words lit something inside her. The quiet fury of a woman who'd lost too much to stay silent. She typed back. You already embarrassed me. I'm just telling the truth. He replied instantly. Careful. You signed an NDA. A threat. Not even subtle. She dropped the phone into her purse and walked out of the house without looking back. Outside, the air felt heavy. The sky gray, the world indifferent. She stood on the curb as movers carried her things out behind her. Neighbors watched from their windows, pretending not to stare. One whispered, I knew it wouldn't last. Her eyes filled, but she didn't let the tears fall. Not here. Not where they could see her broken. When the last box hit the truck, she climbed into her old car. The one thing Ethan hadn't taken because it wasn't worth much, and drove. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she couldn't stay. Miles later, she pulled into a rundown motel. One room. Faded carpet. flickering light. It wasn't home, but it was hers. That night, she lay on the bed staring at the ceiling, whispering to herself. He wanted silence. He's getting the opposite. And for the first time since this nightmare began, she smiled, not because it didn't hurt, but because pain had finally turned into purpose. If you've ever had to rebuild from ashes, type rise in the comments. Because Nia's story isn't ending here. It's just beginning. The motel smelled of dust and old paint. The hum of the air conditioner was the only sound in the room. Nia sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, staring at her reflection in the black screen. Her face looked unfamiliar, tired eyes, hollow cheeks, strength fading into disbelief. It had been a week since she'd left the mansion. No calls from Ethan. No friends showing up. Even her so-called bridesmaids had unfollowed her online, probably afraid of losing access to his network. Her world had gone quiet. She checked her phone again. No new messages. Only the echo of what used to be her life. Malia called once more. You need a plan, Nia. You can't stay in that place forever. I know, she whispered, but I don't even know who I am without him. Malia paused. Then start by remembering who you were before him. Those words sat heavy in her chest long after the call ended. Before him, she was bold, ambitious, the kind of woman who didn't wait for permission. She'd built her own marketing agency from nothing. Ethan hadn't made her successful. He just made her forget she already was. She stood, walked to the small bathroom mirror, and whispered to her reflection, "You're still here." It sounded weak at first, but she said it again. Louder. "You're still here." The next morning, she made coffee using the motel's rusty machine. Opened her laptop. Logged into the email account she hadn't checked in months. Hundreds of unread messages blinked back. Clients, old colleagues, people who used to admire her. Somewhere under the shame, a spark flickered. Maybe she hadn't lost everything. She started replying. Slowly. Hesitant at first, then faster. Each message felt like a piece of her coming back. That night, she went out for a walk. The air was cold, the streets half empty. Across the road, a small church had its doors open. She didn't go in, but she stood outside and listened to the faint sound of laughter from inside. It reminded her that peace still existed somewhere, even if it wasn't hers yet. As days turned into weeks, Nia began writing again. Not about Ethan. About herself. The healing wasn't pretty. Some days she didn't get out of bed. Some nights she cried until she couldn't breathe. But each sunrise felt like a small victory. And slowly, the headlines faded. The world moved on to a new scandal. She was finally invisible again. And strangely, it felt like freedom. And once that truth surfaces, there's no going back. It started with a headline. Not about her this time, about him. Stone future under investigation for charity fraud. Nia blinked at the screen. Ethan's name. Clara's face. Both front and center on the news she tried so hard to avoid. For a moment, she didn't believe it. She thought it was another rumor. But the reporter's voice cut through the disbelief. Sources claim millions in donations meant for schools in Detroit never reached their destination. Financial statements appear falsified. She sat frozen. Then a laugh escaped her. It wasn't joy, it was disbelief. Karma, finally remembering her name. Her phone buzzed. Malia again. Girl, you seeing this? Nia nodded even though Malia couldn't see her. I'm watching. They're calling it one of the biggest scandals in tech history. And guess who's vanished? Clara. Nia leaned back against the headboard, heart racing. She ran. Looks like it. Ethan too. No public statement yet. For months, she'd been the one hiding. Now it was him. She turned the volume up. Reporters crowded outside Ethan's headquarters. Investors panicked. Employees whispered about cover-ups and secret bank transfers. Every lie he told her suddenly made sense. The late nights. The fake business trips. The guilt buried under arrogance. He wasn't just cheating on her. He was cheating everyone. The same man who'd called her emotional, now looked desperate on live television. Later that night, she got an email from an anonymous account. Subject line, "You were right about him." Her pulse quickened. She opened it. Attached were files, bank records, wire transfers, emails between Ethan and Clara. Proof of everything. She read line after line, each one darker than the last. He'd stolen from his own charity, moved the money through shell companies, and used her name in the filings. Her name. That meant legally, she was tied to it. For a second, the room spun. He hadn't just broken her heart, he tried to destroy her future. But this time, she wasn't powerless. She gathered the files, printed every page, and drove to the nearest news station. The receptionist looked surprised when she said her name. "You're Mrs. Stone." "Not anymore," she said quietly. "But I have something you'll want to see." By morning, the world knew everything. The fraud, the affair, the lies. Ethan Stone's empire crumbled in real time. His investors pulled out. His mansion was raided. Clara's accounts were frozen. And for the first time in months, Nia's name appeared in the news beside one word she hadn't seen in a long time: vindicated. The reporters waited outside her motel the next morning. Cameras, microphones, flashing lights bouncing off the cracked pavement. Nia stepped out in a plain hoodie, hair pulled back, no makeup. She didn't flinch when the questions started. "Mrs. Stone, do you have a statement? Were you aware of your husband's crimes? Is it true you leaked the evidence?" She paused at the last one, looked straight into the nearest camera. "No," she said. "I didn't leak it. I told the truth. There's a difference." That clip went viral within hours. By noon, the same talk shows that once mocked her were calling her brave. The same blogs that printed lies about her now called her the woman who brought down a billionaire. It was strange how quickly pity could turn into praise when the story changed. Malia called again, her voice bubbling with pride. "Girl, you did it. They're finally listening." Nia smiled faintly. "They're listening because it's convenient now, not because they care." Still, something inside her shifted. For the first time, she wasn't running from her story, she was owning it. A journalist from The Atlantic reached out for an interview. "We want to hear your side." "The real one," the woman said. Nia hesitated. Talking meant reliving everything: the humiliation, the betrayal, the headlines that turned her into a meme. But she also knew silence had cost her enough. She agreed. The article went live 2 weeks later. Title: "The Cost of Loving a Man the World Won't Let You Hate." It wasn't about Ethan. It was about the double standard. How black women in interracial relationships are idolized until they're discarded. How pain becomes spectacle when melanin's involved. Her words hit home. Thousands of women shared it. Messages poured in. Teachers, nurses, single moms, each one saying, "You told my story too." For the first time, her pain helped someone else heal. The motel owner slipped a copy of the article under her door with a note that said, "Proud of you." That night, she walked outside and looked up at the sky. The same one that watched her cry now watched her rise. She realized she didn't need to prove anything anymore. Ethan's downfall wasn't her victory, it was her freedom. And when a news anchor ended their segment saying, "Nia Caldwell, a symbol of resilience," she turned off the TV and whispered, "No, just a woman who finally remembered her worth." 6 months later, Atlanta felt different. The air cleaner. The noise softer. Or maybe it was Nia who had changed. She stood on the balcony of a downtown event space, overlooking a sea of people. Her people. Women in every shade of resilience. They were there for her foundation's launch, the Rise Collective, a non-profit helping women heal from emotional abuse and racial trauma. She'd built it from nothing but pain and purpose. The same way she'd rebuilt herself. Reporters filled the back of the room, flashes clicking as she stepped to the podium. 6 months ago, she began, "I thought my life was over." But sometimes destruction isn't the end. It's the start of rebuilding something real. The crowd listened in stillness. I was taught to be quiet, to protect someone else's image. But silence only protects the wrong people. So I decided to speak, not just for me, but for every woman who's ever been blamed for the pain someone else caused. Applause filled the room. Warm, loud, healing. And then she saw him. Ethan. Standing in the doorway, thinner, older, suit wrinkled. The world had chewed him up. His company gone. Clara gone. His wealth reduced to headlines and lawsuits. For a moment, time stopped. He approached slowly, hands trembling. Nia. Her name in his voice sounded strange now. Like it didn't belong to him anymore. I didn't come to cause trouble, he said quietly. I lost everything. I wanted to say I'm sorry. She studied him. The man who once made her feel small now looked small himself. Sorry doesn't undo what you did, she said. You didn't just hurt me. You tried to erase me. His eyes glistened. I was wrong. You didn't deserve any of it. She took a deep breath. I know. He blinked, surprised. I forgave you, she said. Not for you. For me. Because I refuse to carry your guilt anymore. She turned slightly, nodding toward the crowd. But I'll never forget what you taught me. That silence is the most dangerous kind of cage. He swallowed hard. Can I ever make it right? She shook her head gently. No. But you can start by disappearing gracefully. He nodded. For once, he didn't argue. He turned, shoulders heavy, and walked out. When the door closed, Nia exhaled. Not in sadness, in release. The crowd didn't know what had just happened, but she felt it deep in her bones. That was her closure. She stepped back to the microphone. To every woman who's ever been told she's too much, too loud, too emotional, too black, hear me now, you are enough. The audience rose. Applause thundered. Cameras flashed. Nia smiled through tears. She wasn't a victim anymore. She was the story. And as the lights glowed around her, she whispered to herself, let them talk. I'm finally free.